So, party, I was on Facebook, and that's how I just did the Facebook Live. So, but because I'm basically done with fighting with that program, then I've just decided to use this system instead. So,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. So, what I thought I would do for you guys today is make some homemade hamburger buns and do homemade burgers in my multi cooker. It's got a new name because it was the quick cooker, but now it's called the multi cooker because it's a bit of an upgrade, actually quite a bit of an upgrade from our previous pressure cooker. So it's right over here, which I bring this over a little bit closer and I'll just hold it. So this has got multiple settings. I've already filled it about an inch below the half mark, which is what I'm going to do for sous vide. So before Pampered Chef, I didn't really know anything about sous vide. And so what sous vide is cooking in a water bath at a very precise temperature for an extended period of time. So you actually cook it in the Ziploc bag or whatever kind of sealed bag you've got. And I'm going to set it to 150 degrees for probably 3 hours. You can do anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. It doesn't matter because it will hold it at that same temperature. So I'm quite excited. I did steak, not steak. I did lamb chops a couple of weeks ago, maybe 10 days ago, and they were so incredibly tender and perfect. It was just phenomenal. So I'm excited to do the burgers. And then all you have to do once you've got it to that temperature is you just put it on a preheated pan and just basically sear. And that is how the restaurants always have perfect steak for us, is because they actually sous vide them. So that way it's always perfection. And then they just pan sear them to get them exactly the right look as well, right? That nice seared look. So what I'm going to do is turn that on, and I guess I will bring this back over. That's why the phone was a little more convenient, but that's okay. You won't be able to see too much, but I'll try. If this has a stand, like a slot for the lid to go in when you're not using it, which is quite cool. I'm excited about that feature. So like I said, I've got the water in there already, and I'm just going to go through the settings here quickly to tell you, because there's so many different settings. You can do custom, so you can make it whatever you need. But the sear setting has a low, medium, high. So you can sear things, do your ground beef on here and cook that up, and then add in all your chili stuff. It's all in one pot. And then do the soup setting. So custom sear egg, poultry, beef and pork, seafood, white rice, whole grains, soup, beans, dessert. You can do banana bread in here in a fluted cake pan that we have that fits in there. You can do cheesecake in our springform pan. There's steam setting for all your veggies and whatnot. Slow cook, which again has a low, medium, high. And sous vide, which you can control the temperature anywhere from 77 degrees up to 197. And then you've got yogurt, which I haven't used yet, but I'm quite excited. I probably will do that tonight, because you can do it like anywhere from 8 to 24 hours, I guess. And I don't know the details yet because I haven't made it, but you do a couple minutes of like cooking and cooling of milk, and then add in a yogurt starter, and then you just set it or something like that. I haven't read the instructions yet, but it's quite easy. And of course it's free of all the different additives and whatnot that you would get in a packet, like a store-bought yogurt. And then sterilize. So if you've got baby bottles and things like that you can just sterilize, you can. Or canning pieces, you can't can in here, but you can prepare your canning pieces in here if you need to. So I've got it set to the sous vide. Let's see if I can show this to you. I've got it on sous vide, and I'm going to push on, and I'm going to choose my temperature. So I'm going to do 150. Select, and it's got 2 hours and 50 minutes, I guess, is the default. I'm just going to go up to 3, and I need to put the lid on. Put this down. And so 3, and then I'm just going to push start. And I think, so it'll let me, I can kind of run through the things. So in order to actually start the water, because you have to preheat it, just 1, 2, 3. hold it for like a second, and now it's going to run and it's preheating. When it is ready for me to add the burgers, I will just take the bag and put them right in there, and I'll keep the top of it here above the water line. So that's going to carry on and do its thing while I make the burger buns. So disclaimer, I haven't made successful hamburger homemade buns before, but I've been doing a lot more breads lately. And this recipe, and I've been good at like all of my different artisan breads and my sandwich breads and all kinds of other breads. So I've decided to come back to try hamburger buns because it's been years since I tried them. So I got a recipe from somebody as well. So after I make them today, if it's a really good recipe, then I'll share it with you guys. So there's my disclaimer. And I should say too, that this is the cooking guide that comes with the multi-cooker, and it walks you through everything. So this is the sous vide page where it tells me for burgers, you know, for medium rare all the way up to well done. Of course, this is made in the US, so they do medium rare burgers. We would not, of course, in Canada. So, or I don't. So yeah, so there's your settings, and it tells you the times and whatnot, which for sous vide is 2 to 4 hours.
From Brandie?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I noticed like you can just use a normal plastic Ziploc bag. You don't need the special one that it comes with, or?
You don't need the special one. No, you can use that, but we do have, let me grab them. There's a couple that aren't in the dishwasher or whatever right now. This is the one I did my lamb chops in. So you can use this. It's totally works with it. And this comes in the multi-cooker set. So yeah, you could use this one, or you can use a regular Ziploc, or you can use a vacuum sealer as well, as long as it's totally sealed and they're single layer. That's the only thing you need to know. Something else I learned about sous vide is you don't use fresh garlic in there. So when I was making the lamb chops, I was going to put fresh garlic in. And then it takes a while to do this preheating, just so you know. And I was like, I'm not sure if this is taking too long or if I've done something wrong. So I phoned another consultant on my team who I know who has used the sous vide. And I was chatting with her and I said, well, this is what I'm doing. She's like, yeah, that's totally right. It's fine. It'll beep and whatnot. Because it beeps and goes psst, like releases pressure. Probably every 5 or 10 minutes while it's doing this. And that's totally normal because this is a non-pressurized setting. So it's just making sure no pressure is building up. So anyways, she said, I told her what I was making and she goes, don't use fresh garlic. And I said, oh, really? Like, okay, because it can actually get unsafe. I haven't looked up the technical culinary reasons why, but it can get unsafe, which luckily I was being lazy and I just used my Pampered Chef garlic rub anyways. So a dried seasoning like that is totally fine in the sous vide. And you would just use fresh, like on the stovetop or something. So there's a little tidbit about that. Let me grab my milk for this recipe. And I was melting, I like to multi-purpose what I'm doing. I was melting my butter by putting it in my warmed up milk, which you can't see because I'll spill it if I show you. And here I'm going to make sure hopefully the temperature is right. It might not be. I might have to warm it up a little bit more because I started this and it was too warm. I was up to 130 degrees, which is far too warm. Oh, it's at 96, 97. We want it to be 100. So that's close enough. Although now it's close enough. I was going to say, I don't want it to not work, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I should mention too, I brought out my burger press because this is how I made my burger patties. You can just sprinkle a little bit of oil on here if you want, or a little bit of seasoning. Put your cold ground beef in here. I do 2 scoops with the stainless steel scoop. You can just grab a handful if you want, however, and then you just press with this and it makes perfect burgers. You can make them as pretty thick if you want, or not as thick as that. And you can put the insert if you want to make sliders, pardon me. So again, you would just fill that in and then use the other side of the press to do your sliders. And the press piece, you can see this dimple that's on either side. That's so that your burger gets a dimple and it won't overexpand when you're cooking it, like on a barbecue or something. So the burger and slider press is handy. I'm going to warm up my milk slightly. Luckily, I have a gas range now, and so it doesn't take very long at all. See, there's the little dingle, 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 and then it goes click, and that's very normal. So combine the milk and the yeast in a small bowl, which I'll just do in that pot that it's in until it's dissolved. So I'll do that, and then I'm gonna mix my butter and my sugar and an egg. All right. Of course, I need a spoon. Okay. I put my thermometer. So I like, this is really handy if you ever need to check temperature of anything, whether you're cooking chicken or steak or proofing things for baking like breads and whatnot. It's very handy, instant read thermometer. It also comes with a corded probe that you can plug in and then put the corded probe into your turkey in the oven or your ham or a roast, whatever you're cooking, so that the cord side can go in the oven, and then you just have this on the outside and it's got a magnet to keep it somewhere. And of course you can fold that down so you're not going to poke yourself with it. So let me check that temperature again. I'll bring you over here so you can see what's going on. Carry my computer. Good thing I have a nice little small laptop, so it's easy to carry around. Oh, now it's too warm again. Close enough. All right. I take it out of there and I'm just going to put it into a small bowl. It won't stay hot. This is the milk pot, which has a little spout as well. And it's cast iron and it's very handy. You can use it for so many things. Of course, milk, but also you can use it for making sauces and even just heating water if you're going to make some tea or something like that. Like, I don't have a kettle. I just use either that or a bigger pot if I'm doing some for more than just myself. Now I'm tempted to let this cool because I did it too long. I have a water bath in my sink right now with cold water in case I got it too warm, so I could quickly cool it back down. It's always that temperature piece. So I do have my yeast. This is just a quick yeast in my prep bowl, 1 tablespoon. That's what I'll be adding. And I have a 1/4 cup of sugar and 1 egg. And then I've got my salt and flour all handy. And I'm doing everything here on my, see if I can show you, on my silicone pastry mat, which is very handy. Oh, did I lose you? Where did you go? There you are, which is very handy. No matter what surface you're working on, you know that you've got a great smooth surface to work on when you're kneading dough and whatnot. All right, check this temperature one more time. And I do have my butter melted. Did I mention the melted butter already? Oh, there we go, 102, excellent. That cooled down nice and quickly. Okay, melted butter. Although that's not what I was supposed to put in next, but that's okay. I'm supposed to put it into, so here's the thing. This is funny. My husband used to tease me. So I always, whenever I would do in-person cooking shows, I always forgot something or I'd do something wrong in a recipe because I get a little nervous, right? And so like just now, I wasn't really supposed to put the butter in yet, but it'll be fine. I'm sure it's not the end of the world. I'm just supposed to dissolve the yeast a little bit. So I'm stirring that up. It's in the milk. It always stays in a little bit of chunks. This is our mix and masher, which because of the design of it, it mashes potatoes or sweet potatoes or whatever you want to mash really well and nice and fluffy, but it's also a super fantastic whisk. I've used this in baking so much because of the design of the multi circles there. It mixes things really, really well. If you can't afford one of those nice KitchenAid mixers, I've always told people, get this. It's like 20 bucks and it will make your butter and sugar mixture for baking when you're supposed to beat that until it's smooth and fluffy. It whips it so well. So it's just like the handiest tool. And of course, as a mix and masher too, right? So you can mash up anything, guacamole, all sorts of stuff. And I am using the silicone, not silicone, pardon me, stainless steel bowls. This is the medium, yeah, this is the medium size. There's the really large, which is 24 cups. It does have measure markings on the sides in them as well. So that's the large, the medium, and I have the smallest one here as well. And they do have a silicone on the bottom, so they stay put where you're using them. They have a little handle to hold onto and a pour spout. So they're a very handy set of bowls, and they come with lids as well that secure on there super well. Of course, they're dishwasher safe. And yeah, they're just like so handy. These are my bread bowls. I use these all the time because you can heat the bowl up, like you can run warm water on it, get it nice and warm, and then put it in the oven on warm setting to rise or whatever, right? So I've got that mixed up. Now I'll add the butter and my sugar. What else does it say? Sugar, butter, and egg. Oh, we got a new egg separator. I don't need to separate eggs, but I also want to make sure I don't get that shell in there. There's a, oh, I guess I got a shell in my, oh well. There's gonna be a shell in my egg, in my buns. It's small. Somebody will find it. So mix that up, and then I need my salt, which is 1 teaspoon. Yeah, 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt. This is our grinder set with the Himalayan pink salt. So you've got your Himalayan and pink sea salt. So I just estimate that's probably there. That's probably a teaspoon. Enough that it'll have a good flavor into it. And now I add in my flour. So it's 3 to 3.5 cups of flour. And I'll knead it for 6 to 8 minutes. So I'll add in about half of that to get it started. Our bamboo spoons are super strong and durable. They come in a set of 3. They will last you forever. I swear I've had these ones 20 years. You know, I toss them in the dishwasher and everything. So they last a very long time. Okay, got that mixed in. Now I'll add the rest. And then we'll do some kneading. Oh, well, I guess I'm adding all 3.5 cups because now I've already done it. Make myself some room here. And those prep bowls are very, very handy. Oh, I was going to show you too. These are the adjustable measuring spoons. So the small, they come in a set of 2. This is got all the way from 1/8 of a teaspoon all the way up to 1 teaspoon. And then the bigger one has, at its smallest setting, is 1 teaspoon, goes up to 1.5, 2 teaspoons, 2.5, and 1 tablespoon. So I love the 1.5 and the 2.5 because it's very handy if you're doubling or tripling recipes or anything like that. The little adjustable part comes off, so they're dishwasher safe. And these are a free gift with purchase this month. This or a couple other choices, the chef's pastry, what is it called? The chef's basting brush, and the cut and seal for sandwiches or pizza pockets or things like that. So, all right, so that pastry mat is going to come in very handy now that my dough has almost come together. Just about time to turn it out. It's kind of neat to be able to do these cooking classes again, but virtually. So, because normally, of course, I wouldn't be able to do something like homemade bread if I went to somebody's house to do a party because we don't have time for the 90 minutes of rising and all that good stuff. Our flour sugar shaker, or powdered, I think it's called powdered sugar shaker now, has a lovely screen on the top, so you can just put out a bunch, I don't know if you can see that, right? You can put out the flour on your surface. I have another one that has powdered sugar in it, and we use that for like pancakes and waffles and stuff. So that one's dedicated to that. And this one is got the flour. When I used to have, so this is the newer version, it's stainless steel, nice big handle. And my other one is the old school kind, it's white. And when they were both the same kind, I had to label them because I found out the hard way that icing sugar will not thicken your gravy. So I was trying to use my icing sugar thinking it was flour to thicken my gravy one Thanksgiving or Easter or something, right? So, all right, so get my bowl. We do have a bowl scraper, which sometimes I forget about because it's still quite new to get, and it's a great idea for the flour or for the dough that's on the side of the bowl. Anyway, like I said, I forget about that sometimes, so my hands are too dirty to start digging into my kitchen drawers again. So now I'm just going to be kneading this. And this is where the flour sugar shaker comes in handy. There it is. It's just beeping and running still. So I'll do this for a few minutes. I'd love if you guys are able to come off mute. I'd love to hear if you guys make your own breads or maybe your own pies, things like that. But if not, I can still yak away.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Not really. Oh, I actually cook a lot with almond flour now.
Oh, yeah.
And I make like kind of like when you go to Red Lobster and you get those nice little garlicky cheesy buns. Like I make those a lot with almond flour.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I love the recipe. I actually have a bunch of almond flour in my freezer.
Mm.
So.
I made pie crust with almond flour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I don't personally eat a lot of wheat.
Okay.
So that's why I tend to stick to the almond flour more, but I used to make bread all the time when my kids were little. Like I made bread, just, basic normal bread all the time. But
Yeah, like a sandwich bread.
Mhm.
Yeah. For sure.
I didn't get on the sourdough bandwagon during COVID, but I love sourdough. When I do eat it, I love sourdough.
Yes, me too, but I have not gotten on the bandwagon of that either. I don't know. I'm like, it's only $4.95 at the store or less sometimes. I know it's going to be obviously much better at home and everything, but I figure like a 2 to 3 hour bread investment is the extent of what I like to give for my own time to make bread. So sourdough is just weeks and months of maintaining, and I'm not interested in that personally.
Yeah.
So.
My mom used to make what's called beer barrels. That's what we call them. I don't know why that name, but we took the bread dough, made them into buns, but took fried hamburger and onions and onion soup mix and put it inside the dough and then made a bun around that.
Oh, okay.
And then you would bake that. So then you had like with soup or whatever, and it's like a little hamburger inside the bun.
Yeah.
But not cool. A formed hamburger, like scrambled hamburger, but yeah, it was really good.
Right. Yeah. That does sound good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I've kneaded this. I mean, it's probably not 6 to 8 minutes, but it's a very nice smooth dough now. So I'm going to let this rise. So what I like to do is warm up my bowl just to kind of get a head start on it. I should have preheated my oven too, but I didn't think of that. At least on the warm setting, it doesn't take too long.
We recently switched over to a gas stove too, and I love it.
Yeah, I have it's actually dual range, so it's an electric oven but a gas range.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, so got that warmed up. Just dry it off now.
I love how versatile these pieces are because I would have never thought to stick that in the oven.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
On warm setting, it's okay. The silicone is heat safe. Like I wouldn't bake in it, but on warm, because warm only gets up to 200 degrees. It's okay. I've always done it. I don't think that they actually advertise it as oven safe, but I've always done it. So I will caution that I've melted some of these plastic things though.
Oh, okay.
But they're only $5 to replace. So in my mind, it's like, nah, that's okay. So I'm just adding some oil to the bowl. And this is our new oil dispenser, which you can actually squeeze the side. See how it's got this pattern here. And then it puts oil into the top section and you can measure it. There's markings on here for 1, 2, and 3 teaspoons. So that's really handy if you want to measure. You don't need a measuring spoon then. And the top comes off to get washed separately as well. So I've got my oil in there, spread that around a little bit more. And I do like to pat some oil along the top of it. I don't know, I read that one time in one of my recipes and I don't know, maybe it just keeps it from, prevents the top from cracking or something. I don't even know why, I just do it.
Yeah, I do too. And then it's like it just keeps it from kind of drying out. And
yeah.
And then when you have to punch it down, it's nice and oily and not too sticky.
That's right, for sure. So because I let it rise in a really warm oven, I don't always put a towel across the top, although I suppose you could as well. As it turns out, I need to move my oven rack. Because it's halfway through, so I can't get the bowl in there yet. What was some of the top items on your wish list, Corina?
All the gadgets, like, well, what intrigued me the most, because like I'm starting to eat again, like I said, a little bit more plant-based food, and it's in like less fat, because for me, I have a lot of inflammation in my body, so I found that as I'm like reducing fat, the inflammation's going. So I've been cooking a lot dry sautéing.
Okay.
But I don't really have good pans. So I really like when you did your live for that other party, I love the pan you were using. And I was like, oh, that looks really good.
Was I using the stainless steel one, or was I using the non-stick, the black
non-stick one? Yeah. So that looked really nice.
Do you want me to grab that right now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. If you want to show me again. Yeah.
That's just, I mean, everything's right here. That's the nice thing about the virtual show, right? You can do everything right here. So, and I can grab anything that you want to see. So yeah, it has the removable handle, because that's how I store it too. Like I store it stacked. And then you just, so how that works is it's a 2-button system. So you push this little button in, and while you're holding that in, you pull the big button back. So it's like one thumb reaction, just like that. And then it's on super steady. So, but yes, they're very nice non-stick. You don't even need to use oil or anything for pancakes, for eggs, none of that stuff. It's fantastic non-stick. So,
and that one you can steam that thing. I like that little steamer. That looks awesome.
It has a steamer insert that sits on it, and it expands down probably an inch or so. So you can put a nice good, well, maybe more. Let me see. Yeah, I'd say probably almost 2 inches actually, now that I look at it and think about it. So you get a pretty decent depth there to put a pile of asparagus, or, maybe even sweet potatoes or whatever you wanted to steam there, broccoli and everything. You can do all of that. And then there's a lid, of course, that goes on it too. So
actually, like I've seen that one on in the catalog, but it was a round one that you made like a stir fry. You were making Chinese food.
Oh yeah,
it was the round one that you were using, not this one, I don't think.
Okay, so yeah, of the wok.
Yeah.
There's a big stack of cookware under there.
Yeah.
So there's this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love the stainless steel has this non-stick mesh in it as well. So it's really easy to clean, but you still get the really fantastic sear on your chicken or your steak or whatever. I mean, obviously with a wok, it's going to be different pastas or whatnot. Yeah, so it's a good way to get best of both worlds with this one. So
yeah, I've invested in so many pans, it's crazy. Like I've bought that rock stuff. Not good.
The ones from Costco. I know so many people I've seen bring those back.
Like not good. And then another version of it, I can't remember, stoneware, I think, or not stoneware, I bought it at a trade show, a big set. Yeah. Again, what a joke. Like I know that if you're not careful, a lot of those non-stick surfaces are not good for you. They're not healthy. Right. So
yeah, and so ours is actually those pans, even if you scratch them, the scratch will not expand. It won't chip away. It won't come off in your food or anything like that. But they're great. You can even use metal utensils in those, or in this one as well. You can use metal. I don't like the sound of the metal in this one, so I personally don't, but you won't wreck it. So, but the nice thing too about Pampered Chef's cookware, whether it's the non-stick line or this stainless steel hybrid sort of line, you have a lifetime guarantee with these as well. So Like you don't go wrong. It's not like I always get like kind of that itchy feeling when I'm at the trade shows and I see them selling cookware and I'm like, oh, but you're never going to be able to find those people again if you have a problem. So it is what it is, right? I mean, they're great salespeople and they can sell their product, but we've been around for over 40 years and, you know, we have absolutely backed every one of our cookware pieces. So, and you get to chat with me because I'm using this in my kitchen. You can access it anytime you want. Like you can see what I'm making with it in real life every day. So yeah. So it's just,
yeah, I've had Pampered Chef for many, many years and I love the products for sure, you know.
yeah.
So the people I bought it from, like their head offices in Calgary or whatever, okay, fine. I tried to do a claim because they fell apart in no time flat. And then basically I had to send all these pictures and the bottom, like because I hadn't kept the bottom scrubbed shiny clean, which I didn't know anything about that, they wouldn't warranty it. And I'm like, what? You know, oh, and then you use the wrong oil to cook with or something. Like there was all kinds of excuses. Anyways,
Right.
I'm on the quest for good cooking pans. And I do have the soup pot from many, many years ago from Pampered Chef that I still use and I love. Good. And the coating has stayed on it good. So yeah.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Hosting, of course, is a great way to get them free or half price and whatnot too. There's a whole cookware set you can get as one half price item in the catalog as a host. So yeah, I'm missing one door in my kitchen. It's downstairs, but I always hate to display that. So I'm like, oh yeah, that cupboard door. So yeah, so basically now my dough is going to rise and it looks like it is. Oh, that's another thing on here is actually really great because there's a progress wheel. See if I can show you. So it's down to one last little pie piece that's flashing. So it's almost ready and it will beep and tell me to add the burgers into the sous vide. So we'll give it a minute here and see if it goes so that I can show you. Basically, I'm just going to put the bag in the water and put the lid back on is really all I'm going to do anyways. But yeah, any other questions about anything that I showed or that I didn't show and you wanted to check out?
No, like I do love that blender, the cooking blender.
Yeah.
And then also the air fryer because I want to upgrade my toaster oven to a air fryer version type thing. But
right, yeah. And here they are. They live side by side here in this section of my kitchen. So, oh, sorry about that. The dog's barking. Yeah. So the air fryer, because it's like has multi-function, right? So we use it in place of a toaster. Like I got rid of my toaster after about a week of having this because I just use it on bake setting for 4 or 5 minutes, depending how toasted you like it. If you wanted a little bit more toasted, you could do the roast setting because the roast setting is 375, whereas bake is 350. So you could do it that. My husband likes barely toasted toast, so we just do it on bake. And then, so you've got your toaster oven, roasting. You've got the air fry function. It has a basket that it comes with. It comes with the rotisserie spit, and it comes with the 2 trays that are able to cook on as well. So yeah, it comes with all kinds of pieces, and it has a reheat setting, so it's just automatically defaulted to that for you. I'm trying to do this angle here, and dehydrate. So it also, if somebody was to have a dehydrator or wanting to get one, this does all of that as well. So you can kind of use this in place of like 4 appliances essentially. So. And the blender is actually the thing I was waiting for forever. I was so excited when we finally came out with this. And I love that it's a cooking blender. So you can actually put raw vegetables in here with some chicken stock or whatever, and it will make soup for you from scratch. Not just heating up soup, but actually cooking the soup. So it's fantastic that way. You can do your alternative milks, which is why I have all sorts of almond flour in my freezer, because I did a lot of almond milk for a while when we were testing out a dairy allergy. And my daughter is sensitive to dairy, but she would rather have itchy skin once in a while and still be able to eat cheese. So yeah, I know you can hear me. She just walked in the door. So yeah, so you've alternative milks, so you can, and then when you've got that pulp from the almond milk, of course, then I would just bake it to dry it out, and then I would grind it in here. Can you take that squeaky toy away from her for a minute? So then I would just bake the almond paste and dry it out, and then pop it in here on the grind setting to grind it into flour. So yeah, so there's so many functionality. I do my coffee beans in here, soup, heated purees. It does jam. There's a jam setting, so you can just literally add everything, set it and forget it. You just walk away. It makes cheese sauce. Take her. I'm talking to a customer and her friend. Can you take that squeaky toy from the puppy, please? As soon as the kids come home, the dog wants to play squeaky toys. So yeah, so there's so much functionality with that as well. So
the size of the oven, do you find is like to cook for a family? Because I don't have a microwave. I choose to use the my toaster oven, but I do actually cook in my toaster oven quite a bit. But I do want one a good size, and that is that one fairly good size?
Yeah, it like we can do so many chicken wings, like we can do more than enough chicken wings for our family for a meal, and it takes half as long. So of course it's not a big deal to do a second batch if we're doing extras or anything like that. But I can do chicken parmesan, enough in there for everybody. I can do all the spring rolls if we're doing spring rolls. I think that's what I made actually on Natasha's, was stir fry and spring rolls. A whole chicken, a big roast on here, up to 5 pounds for the rotisserie. So yeah, the only thing that is a little bit small as far as enough is I can't make like a large batch of French fries in one setting. Like it's enough for 4 people, but it's not like there's extra type of thing on the French fries. So that's about the only thing. But again, you can just do a second basket full. Really, it just basically stops me from overeating on the French fries. It's like, really, it's enough of a portion anyways. I don't really need to do extra. So
by the time the second batch is cooked, you're like, nah, I'm full. So that's
exactly. Totally. So yeah.
What is this?
Okay.
Just make it brighter.
Yeah, so I will do some pictures in progress there for you guys as well, and share them in the party. And yeah, if any questions come up from anybody who's watching the recording, I'll just have to convert the recording into a YouTube link so that it loads, but that won't take too long. I'll post that up into the group as well for everybody. So
okay, awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, and we'll chat with you guys soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.